Welcome to For Real. It's Wednesday, and that means it's time for the News Moto, where Jeremy takes you for a ride and I update you on the news of Cambodia. Today's ride takes us to the west part of Siem Reap. We'll go through Sakraum, past one of our old apartments and out onto BBU Road, which is Build Bright University Road. We'll continue past the Ring Road and show you how quickly the urban becomes the rural here in Siem Reap. At For Real, we donate all of the money we earn from YouTube to charities in Cambodia. Here is the total we've donated so far. Simply watching our videos helps us to earn this money, so your time here on our channel directly helps people in Cambodia. Please subscribe if you haven't already. There's a tiny little button in the bottom right of the screen where you can do it right now. Today is Wednesday the 18th of January, and in this episode we'll look at current flights coming into Cambodia, where they're coming from and how many there are. We'll look at the Cambodian government's prediction for international tourist numbers in 2023 now that visitors from China are back in the equation. Perhaps most importantly though, we will check out changes to the official online visa application portal. You can now apply for an E-type visa online, otherwise known as the E version of the E-type visa or the lowercase e, uppercase e visa. And that's not confusing at all. Cambodia has set a target of 5 million international arrivals this year. The final number for 2022 was 2.38 million passengers, so the 2023 projection is around double that number. This is mainly thanks to the reintroduction of tourism from China. A spokesman from the Ministry of Tourism said Cambodia is ready to welcome Chinese people, tourists, business people and investors as they are key contributors to tourism and socio-economic development in the kingdom. He said currently 27 airlines, including 6 airlines from China, have been operating flights in and out of Cambodia. The number of flights from China is expected to increase in the near future. The number of international flights arriving in Cambodia is increasing, but where are they currently coming from? Well, I've done a little investigation using the random date of Saturday the 15th of January to have a look at the activity at each of Cambodia's 3 airports. In Sihanoukville first, only one flight arrived, and it was from Vietnam. Siem Reap had 12 international arrivals on that day, 1 each from South Korea and Singapore, and 5 each from Vietnam and Thailand. How about Phnom Penh? How many at the kingdom's main airport? Well, a surprisingly large number, 39 flights. But where did they come from? Well, there was 1 each from Myanmar and Hong Kong, 2 from Taiwan, 3 each from Malaysia and South Korea, 5 each from Vietnam and Singapore, 6 from China, and a whopping 13 from Thailand. So the total for the 15th of January was 49 flights arriving in that day. That gives you a bit of a snapshot of what's going on in terms of international arrivals. We'll check in on this again in a month or so and see if it's changed. It's not just the air arrivals to consider though. A cruise ship carrying nearly 1,000 passengers and crew docked at Sihanoukville's port recently. The Seabourn Encore of the Bahamas was carrying 429 multinational tourists and 430 crew. The largest groups of tourists on board the ship were 250 Americans, 50 Britons, and 54 Australians. All this talk of entering Cambodia leads us inevitably to visas. The E-type visa is now available online for citizens from all countries across the globe. We're talking about the extendable ordinary visa here, not the electronic tourist visa that has been available online for some time. The online E-type visa has a 3-month validity and a 30-day allowable stay, meaning that you can enter any time within 3 months of it being issued, and it will be valid for 30 days from the day that you enter the kingdom. If you decide to get an e-visa online prior to arrival, make sure that you use the official website, that's this one that's on the screen right now. However, there are some things that you'll need to note. If you get an E-type visa on arrival, it will cost you $35. However, if you opt to get it online prior to arrival, it'll cost you $42. That's the $35 fee, plus a $7 processing charge. The second thing you'll need to consider, if you apply online for your E-type visa, the form asks you to upload supporting documents. The first one it asks for is just a hotel reservation, so that's no problem, but the second one, labelled Other, says Letter of Employment, Letter of Sponsorship, Letter of Labour Contract. Fine if you have a job lined up, but what if you want to retire in Cambodia and don't have those letters? You still need an E-type visa so that you can apply for the retirement extension once you're in Cambodia, But it doesn't look like the online system is set up to support this at the moment. If you're intending to retire, or if you're intending to look for work once you arrive, visa on arrival still seems to be the only feasible option. It's worth mentioning that the information page says that for Visa Type E, a supporting document for health insurance is required. However, the online form doesn't seem to include that requirement. We're far from experts in this stuff, so please do your own research and join the most excellent Cambodia visa and work permit group on Facebook for the most current and correct information. In 99% of cases, you won't even need to ask a question because the answer you need will be right there in the featured posts for you to read. Processing time for the online E-type visa is 3 days. The Cambodia Mine Action Centre will officially start training Ukrainian officials on demining from today. 15 Ukrainian officials will begin a full week of demining training and will visit demining sites in Battambang and Siem Reap provinces. The training is supported by the Japan International Cooperation Agency. The humanitarian demining activities are the result of a joint commitment between the Prime Ministers of both countries. The CMAC said that the impact of landmines and unexploded ordnance on Ukrainian territory has resulted in civilian casualties and is becoming a serious issue for the people of Ukraine. He added that the Cambodian experts will be training them on demining skills as well as how to use the demining equipment and tools. Since 2006, Cambodia has dispatched landmine clearing teams under the United Nations to Sudan, South Sudan, Chad, Mali, Central Africa, Cyprus, Lebanon, Syria, and Yemen. Police recently arrested a woman from Kandal province who hired an assassin to kill her husband for having extramarital affairs. Police have also arrested the man to whom she paid $1,000 to carry out the murder. Both suspects were charged with premeditated murder, and if convicted, they face a jail term of life in prison. During her confession, the suspect told the police that her marital life was problematic as her husband had affairs with other women. The assassin knew the victim very well and offered to take the victim on a trip. After arriving at a deserted place, he strangled the victim to death with an electric wire. He then stole the man's valuables, threw the body into a nearby canal, and fled. A villager found his body floating in the canal and alerted police. The investigation was very simple because an eyewitness saw the suspect throwing the body into the canal. But let's get back to the comfortable territory of moto madness. A wayward driver smashed his truck, emblazoned with monster stickers, into a Phnom Penh cafe on the weekend. Sources say they saw a white Hyundai car travelling along National Road 5 at high speed. The driver lost control and smashed into a cafe and then into a light post, causing a large amount of damage. Before he could abscond, the man was taken to the police station for interrogation. 3 expensive luxury cars were involved in a major crash in Phnom Penh on Friday night. Details of the event are a little bit unclear, but it appears that a white Mazda BT50, driven by an elderly man and his wife, had stopped at a traffic light. A black Alphard luxury car, travelling at speed, then smashed into the back of the stopped car, which then in turn was shunted into a car in front of it. Unfortunately, a woman in the middle suffered a broken nose from the impact. 10 traffic policemen have been suspended after a member of the public accused them of making him pay a traffic fine into an officer's personal bank account. The accusation first surfaced when a Facebook user issued a warning to drivers on National Road 4. The Facebook user stated that police made him pay $200 into an officer's personal account on the 14th of January. Traffic police stopped the truck that was heading towards Sihanoukville and carrying heavy goods. They found that the 22-year-old driver did not have a driver's license and was transporting the goods illegally. The man didn't have cash on hand to pay the fine, and it is alleged that police instructed him to pay the fine into an officer's personal account instead. After the accusation was made, the police investigated and then took action against the 10 traffic officers in accordance with the rules and regulations of the National Police Force, as well as returning the $200 to the complainant. Good news for him, and now some good news for Cambodia's wildlife. The Ministry of Environment announced that 2 gawas, a mother and baby, were seen in a protected area in the country's north. Gawas are a species of cattle living on grasses and plants, and they are the largest land mammal species in the world. They can grow up to a whopping 3 metres long and 2 metres tall, weighing in at 1,500 kilos. That is a big animal. That brings us to the end of this week's news. You're now up to date with all of the most important events in the kingdom. Thank you for watching. Take care, have a great week, and we'll see you very soon.